see a lot of people go through depression, not being able to voice and say, hey, I actually need help, or not even being able to identify, or when do you know, okay, I'm gonna have PBs for this week, or I'm gonna try and achieve a PB this week. Only you can do what you were meant to. Yo, you know what it is? It's Limitless and Chris Bryant Fitness. We have the man here. What we are hoping to achieve today is just give you value, okay? He has a wealth of experience. He has a company that he's been owning for how many years, Chris?
Probably a decade now.
A decade! Wow, okay.
Okay. Merges into one.
Yeah, okay. And so he has, like I said, he has a wealth of experience, and he's going to give you guys exactly what you guys need, and hopefully it doesn't just help at, oh no, come on! Hopefully it doesn't help just one person, but we hope that this helps 1,000 people or even millions, who knows. But it all starts with that one anyway, so we are happy with that.
Yep.
So, cool. Let's get into it, Mr. Chris. Just give us a little bit of your background.
Sure, man. How far back do you want to start? I'm 40, so there's a lot of history.
Okay.
Right, what did I start with? Basically, I'll start with what's relevant is that what kind of got me into fitness in the first place was that I was diagnosed with lupus, what put me into hospital for almost 2 years, 18 months basically.
Okay.
So 18 months in hospital, stuck in a bed, put on a lot of weight.
Yeah, okay.
I was about 110 pure fat.
Wow, okay.
So not much muscle at that point.
Yes.
When I came out of hospital, there was a lot of stuff like with the doctor saying, oh, look, this is kind of your lot now and all that. And I was like, you know what, if you kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't wanting to be determined by other people's opinions.
Yes.
So I set my sights on what was the hardest thing I could think of at the time.
Yeah.
And at the age of 17, there wasn't a lot that I could think of.
Yes.
So I thought the army and the infantry was my goal. And I thought that was the hardest thing I could possibly achieve, so that's what I wanted to achieve.
Yes.
So at that time I knew nothing about nutrition, knew nothing about training really.
Yeah.
So I just did what I thought was best.
Yes, as we all
do, right? Really know what you know.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I did lose a lot of weight. I went from 110, whatever it was, down to around 63 kilos. So a lot of weight.
In a span of?
Oh, it was about a year.
Yeah, okay.
About a year.
Realistic,
yeah. It was hard. Right?
Yeah.
But in saying that, because I've been bedridden for 18 months, any movement was a huge improvement.
Yes.
So doing that, I was going for runs, I was going to the gym and training, probably very, very poorly. If I could see videos back on there, my form was probably abysmal.
Yeah.
But at least I was moving.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
Did the test for the army, got accepted, all that stuff, and spent 6 years in the infantry in New Zealand and went on a few deployments and stuff like that. When I wrapped up with the army, it was basically that time I spent in the army which really kind of kicked me off in terms of my health and fitness. Yeah. And also what I find a lot of the time, especially with other people, if you've been overweight before, you have this paranoia that you never ever want to be that again.
That big.
It kind of can, for me, and a lot of people, it went the other way. So I actually went too small.
Oh wow!
60-something kilos.
Yes.
Pretty light, very small.
Yes.
And I developed a bit of an eating disorder. I had a lot of body dysmorphia, all that kind of stuff. So the army was really good in some ways, but it also perpetrated a lot of negative feelings around myself and around my body and eating and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But I was fit as hell. Real fit. I basically ran everywhere. Walking was too slow, so I just ran everywhere.
Yes, okay.
From the army I went into like marathons and triathlons, and then I ended up doing half Ironman as well, and then that was a lot of training.
How was that?
It was hard, bro.
Yeah?
Real hard.
Okay.
Like, hats off to anyone that does Ironmans or even half Ironmans. It's hard.
Yeah?
Real hard. Lots of training.
Lots of training, yeah.
Every day, you get out in the morning, you go for like a 2-hour run or an hour and a half run type thing. then you go to work and then you do like a 3-hour bike ride.
Wow.
The next day's like a swim and a ride. It's just lots and lots of time on cardio. And you feel absolutely shattered every day.
Yeah. For me, you know, like I don't know, like, because there's different types of fitness, right? And I find that for myself, when I'm doing running, for example, it's a different type of drive. It's a different type of mental space that I do need to be able to push me through that time.
Well, it's an endurance.
It is quite endurance.
So you have to have a different mindset when you're doing it. Like weights is, it's for a short period of time. But endurance hour, at pain for an hour.
Yes. I've always respected runners, like long distance runners, for that. I love weights personally.
I love weights now. I used to love running. When I did that Ironman, it kind of, the amount of time I had to put into it and what it took out, I kind of got put off. And I also got even smaller.
What? From 67?
I was really light, right? And what that sort of set me off is like, I was like, I don't think I want to do this ever again, kind of thing. And that got me started into bodybuilding. I just, use that quote mark because it wasn't bodybuilding at the time, but I was trying to build muscle. So I got a coach, my first coach ever, John Diaraza, a great guy, based down in Lower Hutt. And he got me started in terms of how to train. Because before that I was just doing,
endurance again.
Lots of endurance, lots of running, and curls for the girls on the Friday. Kind of thing. Not
the best.
So that got me started. But so from there, started doing more weight stuff. And that's carried on for some time. I was also working like 9 to 5 type role, sales jobs, chasing the money, basically. I did that for probably 10 years in terms of sales and marketing, and I enjoyed it. Like there was times I was, really passionate about what we were doing, and then as I got on further in my career, I was keeping on chasing the dollar sign and trying to get higher in management and all that kind of stuff, chasing the money. I started losing that passion for it because I wasn't actually engaged with what the company was doing, their values or their morals or what we were even selling, and I was just chasing that dollar sign. I met Amber when I was 29, and she was the first one that actually got me into bodybuilding because she was like, this is what I want to do. I was like, cool, if you do it, I'll support you, I'll join in with you. And that's how we did it. And during our time together, what sort of transitioned me into being a coach was the fact that my life, how I was feeling, like Sunday night, I couldn't sleep because I knew I had to go to work tomorrow, and I was just paranoid, anxious. I wasn't looking forward to it, and I was getting depressed. I didn't realise I was getting depressed, but I was.
Do you know what that came from?
Just the pressure, and then doing something that I didn't believe in as well. And having so much pressure and stress on myself, self-imposed a lot, that I had to earn X amount of money to be successful. And I had to provide for my family. I had to do this, tick these kind of boxes. And what it ended up doing was actually putting me further behind. Because even if I earned more money, we didn't have any more. Because you end up spending it on crap. Right? We weren't good about it. So that whole shift of perspective, like one day I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like I just cannot physically go to work anymore. And work for this kind of environment. So it was like, I basically walked out. That was me done. And Anne was like, what are you doing?
What's next?
What are you
from?
Well, she was always very encouraging actually about like, you're so passionate about this, why aren't you doing it? You're really good at it. And I was had that self-doubt, a lot of self-doubt. Because again, my history, when I was raised, it was a bit abusive and not a very good upbringing. So quite violent and all that kind of stuff. And what that did is made me very self-conscious. No confidence, a bit of a shell of a person. And that carried through the army because again, that was very abusive, violent. My 6-month appraisal was a punch in the face. That was how we were judged. How well can you take a punch?
Hectic. And I think, being these days, it is quite you see a lot of people go through depression, not being able to voice and say, hey, I actually need help, or not even being able to identify.
That's a big point, like being able to identify that you're actually not feeling good. And there's a reason for that. It's not normal to have these kind of feelings. And you can be better.
But for you, what is it that you found was the key element to actually be like, okay, actually there is something that is wrong?
There's two things. The first thing was a bit of an epiphany or a realization for me. And I remember it quite vividly because it was a bit of a shock at the time. I was out of the army. I was in my first year out of the army. I was not in a good headspace. There was thoughts of like suicide and all that stuff going on. I had no sort of purpose or direction in my life or where I wanted to be. And like my job was, I didn't want to be there. My relationship wasn't good, all that kind of stuff. And I just thought to myself, why is my life like this? Why am I not doing the things that I really want to do? I think I have. Like I knew there was more to me than this right now, but I didn't know how to get it out there. And I thought, why am I like this? And I kind of had the realization, it was like a slap in the face. I was driving down the road. I felt like someone slapped me in the face and said, wake up. And I realized that it was me. It wasn't anyone else, it was me. And yes, the past wasn't great. It didn't set me up well, but I was still holding on to that. And I was letting these other people that had influenced my life in a negative way still have control over me. They were off doing whatever they wanted. They had another life. They didn't care where I was. And I kind of thought, well, how come they get to do that and I am stuck in this negative space? And I realised it was me. It was me holding myself here. It was me being a victim. And I thought, right, that's it. I don't want to do this anymore. And from there I got counselling and help and support and started working to be a more positive person, because before that I was a very angry, aggressive person and going out, getting into fights, all that kind of stupid shit. And from there, like it kind of stopped. Well, it didn't stop, but it started to change. The second time was, what was the second time? So that was the first time that kind of got me started into it, and then the second time was really this, realising that I couldn't live like this anymore with my job. The way I was feeling, the way it was with relationship and trying to be a positive person with my kids and a good role model was like.
But you don't have enough in yourself.
It was that scared feeling of, what if I do something else but I'm not good at it? What if I fail? Right?
Which a lot of people do feel.
Failure is the biggest cause of people not doing something. Because they are scared of failing. And then they never do it, so you never get to experience if you're successful or not. And often this is the thing I say to all my clients, is that you can't fail if you don't stop.
You can't fail if you don't stop.
Right? So you can make mistakes. Right? You can fall off the bandwagon for a month. But if you get back on it, you haven't failed because you're still on that same journey. Right? It's just an opportunity to learn. So what took me off that course, what triggered me, alright, these are my triggers, how can I learn and adapt to those triggers?
Did you find that you had to, which I would imagine that the counselling would be a lot of forgiveness? A lot of forgiveness of yourself as well. For allowing, probably because you think to yourself like, wow, how could I have allowed these people to do this to me? And
I think it was a lot of forgiveness for sure. Wasn't so much angry at myself for that side of things, because I was small, I was as much I could do.
Fair enough.
There was a lot of resentment, a lot of anger that I had to sort of deal with and overcome. I just wrote a letter out basically detailing how these people made me feel and what it did to me. I sat on that letter for over a year. So I wrote it out and I just sat on it. And then eventually I got to the point where I was like, actually I do want to give this to them. Because I'm at that point in my life where I can. How they take that is on them. But it took me a long time to go through those things.
And then to go back to what you were saying, Amber was pushing forth and being that support structure for you. Where to from there? Because we do need support structures, and sometimes we cannot see it in ourselves, and that's why coaches are also quite important.
Correct.
Or support system.
Some sort of support network.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Doing it yourself is very, very hard. I liken it to like a coach to Google Maps.
Okay.
Right? So like at the end of the day, if you're at point A and you want to get to point B, you use your maps to get there if you don't know how to get there, right?
Absolutely.
Your coach is your maps to get you to that point B.
Yes.
Along the way, there's going to be detours, roadblocks, life issues that happen, and your coach is there to help navigate you around those detours and get you to the best place possible, fastest and safest way.
Yes.
If you do it yourself, you might get there, but you might be going around in circles 3 times before you get there.
Yes, right? Okay, yeah.
Or if you don't know where you even are to begin with, if you don't know where point A is, how do you ever get to point B?
Yes.
So you need to, first of all, you need to know where you are, and then you need to know a general direction of how you're going to get there, and the processes that you need to take.
Yes.
If you don't know that, it's going to be very, very hard.
Difficult, yeah. And so, like for me, this is something that I've been thinking about, because most people generally would come into the gym, think, oh, I'm all good, I know how to train, I don't need a trainer. Especially even with the people who've been doing it for long. But whereas coming on as a coach as well, I still have a coach. And I'll tell you why, is because I believe in there's always somebody better than you.
100%.
And we all need some sort of accountability.
It's not also always about what you know. Like you say, the accountability is a big factor. Like someone to answer to when you're not feeling good and you go off the rails, or you're in your own head, questioning things. Someone there to say, hey man, you're all good.
Keep going. Absolutely. And another thing is, like I look at, even top athletes have coaches.
That's it. Anyone successful in life, in anything, has some sort of coach or mentor supporting them. Right? The best business people in the world have been brought up with mentors. They've had investors and people invested in themselves and their business to get them where they need to be. No one is successful by themselves. In general. You might get lucky. But it's really hard to get lucky.
I have to ask you, Mr. Chris, do you have a coach yourself?
Again, like yourself, I always had a coach. Like I did it all myself because I was the same. I thought I knew everything. I thought I could do it myself. And I did that for a long time, probably 10, 12 years, sort of thing. The first time I got a coach was the best results I ever got, like hands down.
Nice.
And since then I've always had a coach, so I've had a coach for over 12 years probably.
Wow.
And again, it's not always that they know more or less or whatever it is, it's around that accountability factor, and maybe they specialise in a certain aspect that I want to focus on.
Absolutely.
Bodybuilding in particular with powerlifting, it's like it gets very hard on your mental state, your feelings, and everything's going on inside your head. So again, having that third party opinion to say, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to change things, actually you're okay, don't worry about it. Scales have moved, so what? There's other factors to consider.
Absolutely.
That kind of thing.
Absolutely. So you've obviously, from the people that know you and that follow you, they would know that you've originally a bodybuilder. And then you went into powerlifting. Tell us a little bit about that. And
so as the journey started with the bodybuilding again when I met Amber, and she was the main driver behind it. We both fell in love with it from the first time.
Wow.
The whole process, the posing, the get up on stage, all that kind of stuff, which is quite fun. Because I am actually quite much an introverted person. I don't actually want to be.
You never say that, though. You
That's
never
crazy,
say
right?
that.
But there's different personas, right? So majority of my life I was very introverted, and like my aunties laugh now because they say when we used to call you on the phone, it was like
answers.
Now Amber's like, you don't shut up when you start talking about this kind of stuff. But it's that passion.
That's what I see.
But it's the bodybuilding journey started about that 10, 12 years ago now. We fell in love with it, the whole process, because it's really, really hard. What I love about it is that it is so hard, and it challenges you in so many different ways, not just on your nutrition and your training, but your mindset and your way you perceive different things in your life. And every single prep I've ever had, something has gone wrong in life.
Yes.
I've lost my jobs.
Yeah.
We've moved houses. I had last year, no, yeah, but 2 years ago in prep, I lost 4 of my family members to death that wasn't, expected.
Yes.
Actually, one was, she was old and just due time, but 3 others shouldn't have died, but they did. What it allowed me to do was have an outlet and something else to focus on rather than getting bogged down with all this horrible stuff that you have to go through. And just having a bit of time that I didn't have to think about those kind of things was a bit of a saviour for yourself.
Yes.
So that was a positive side of things for that side of thing. And because it challenges you in so many ways, you learn a lot about yourself, what you're actually truly capable of.
Yes.
You can then import that into other areas of your life.
Yep.
Business, relationships, friendships, whatever it is.
Yes, absolutely.
Because if you can do something real hard, then everything else is easy.
It's easy, yeah.
Yeah.
So how was it? How did you do in the bodybuilding scene, and why the move from bodybuilding to powerlifting?
Okay, cool. So the first comp we did, I think I won my category. I didn't win overalls because you win your category and you get overalls and you compete against all the top people in their categories. Yeah. We went to nationals that year and I won my category, so New Zealand athletic champion in the first year, and then didn't win overalls because the guy that was next to me was just phenomenal. Right?
Yes.
He thoroughly deserved it.
Yeah.
From there, I tried different federations, I tried different categories that sort of suited me. I sort of settled on open bodybuilding because that was just what I liked, like the poses, and I liked the training for it as well.
Yes.
From there, I've competed a number of years. I've had a break in between, probably about 4 years ago, where I actually did powerlifting again for about a year and a half. And then got back into bodybuilding. So I kind of use powerlifting as a intermediate gap between bodybuilding to still have some focus and direction in my training and purpose.
Yes.
Otherwise you just kind of flounder.
Yes.
So I won several New Zealand championships. We went to Worlds 2 years ago for the World Championships. That was a cool experience. Run in Bali. Bali's a cool place to go on visit.
Oh yeah.
Great place to go for bodybuilding.
Nice.
But,
quite cheap too.
Very cheap. Very cheap. Yeah, it's cool. I actually really liked it. But, probably not a good place for a bodybuilding show where we were anyway.
Yeah, okay. Why is that?
Well, we were over in Lombok, which is an island off the main part of Bali. Yeah. Just because Bali's lots of little islands, right?
Yes.
And that was very, almost third world in a way. So yes, they had power and all that stuff, right? But it was fluctuating, like sometimes it didn't have power. So you couldn't drink the water.
Yes.
There was no supermarket.
Whoa.
There was like little Foursquare type shops around, so you couldn't buy fresh meat. You had to get frozen stuff, which is fine, but there was lots of little challenges that you couldn't do. And things like there was no doctors there, so if something went wrong, you're in not good space. Basically. And when you're pushing your body to the absolute limit in bodybuilding, something generally does go wrong. Yes. I actually got to get really sick in Bali as well. So because we couldn't drink the water, we were buying water. Yes. But then Amber was filling up the water bottles and freezing them to keep the food cold. Yes. We're on stage. Unbeknown to me, I just drank the whole, because it was nice. This nice cold water, right? It was hot. I was dehydrated. I was like, this skull is back. Yeah. And Em was like, well, stop, what are you doing? Yes. And by that stage, I'd already drinking like almost this whole litre of water. Oh my gosh. And from there, I got Bali Belly, which was basically like gastro on steroids. It was just mental. Luckily where we'd flown back to the mainland Bali by that stage. Yes. When it really hit me. Yeah. It was horrible though, like basically coming out both ends non-stop. And you have a little sip of water and it's straight back out of you. It was not good. So Bali was really good for that side of things. So with the resort we were staying at, they had a doctor actually come into the room, put an IV drip in me, gave me all this medication, and it took about 48 hours to sort of come right-ish from there, where I could actually start eating food again. Yes, but, okay. That was pretty tough. Yeah, okay, fair enough, sounds tough. Yeah. And then, so, bodybuilding, then you went into powerlifting. And if I'm not mistaken, you and Amber have your own powerlifting
federation, is it? Or?
So, well, we're a part of the Federation GPC, Global Powerlifting Competition, something like that.
Yeah.
Community. And what we run our own competition in New Plymouth. It's part of GPC.
Okay.
But GPC is a worldwide organisation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So, yeah, we've got one on the 4th of May coming up, so that's going to be cool. This is the second year we've run it.
Nice.
And we want to do it as a yearly thing.
Okay.
And then hopefully tack on some individual, like single lifts and stuff like that.
Yes.
We just got to build up a bit more gear here.
Yeah.
But it's a very cool federation. It's a very supportive community.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the only sports you can do that you're competing, and it's a competitive environment, but you're cheering your competitors on and you're like high-fiving them on their PBs and stuff like that. So it's a very, very cool environment.
Yes.
Very supportive. You don't need to be strong to do powerlifting.
Hey, what?
Anyone can do it.
Really?
Like, we've got people that are doing powerlifting for the first time and been training for a year.
Okay.
So their weights aren't going to be massive.
Okay.
But they're massive for them. And that's what it's about.
Okay.
Like, it's about setting your own goals and having something to work towards that you can get behind. And then being in an environment that is supportive and encouraging and fun. And that's what we do in GPC. It's a fun environment. Go there, we've got the music blasting, we've got MC, calling out stuff, there's prizes, there's support around all the athletes. We try and give everything back to the athletes to help them. So, sponsoring them to go overseas, stuff like that. So that's what it's about for us.
Okay. So you touched on a subject there about PBs.
Yeah, PBs.
A lot of people, especially these days, like on social media, you want to have a PB. You see all these guys, Larry Wheels and smashing these huge lifts. What's your take on PBs, and how would you incorporate them into, for example, when do you know, okay, I'm gonna have PBs for this week, or I'm gonna try and achieve a PB this week, or do you, because sometimes people try PBs after PBs after PBs.
Yeah, that's a bit of an issue for a lot of people. PBs are good for ego, but that's kind of right?
Okay.
So PB isn't going to get you strong. A PB is a result of all your other training combined to get you to that list.
Okay.
Where they are beneficial is if you can do them
regularly
within a block.
Oh, within a block. Okay.
Right. So for an example, if you wanted to get X amount on a bench press, right? Let's just say you're benching 80 kilo, but you want to get to 100. Then we'd create a block program.
Phase.
And like periodization training. And periodize you up to that 100 kilos. So by the end of the time, when you get to that 12 or 10 week block, whatever it is, we should be able to hit your new PB of 100 if we've done it right and everything's been good. From there, we will then reset. So, okay, you got your 100, great. What's next? 110, 120? All right, let's periodize it back and start that process again. So that's where a PB can be useful, is that if you can use it as a benchmark to work towards. But if you're coming to the gym and going, every single week, I want to get that 100, I want to get that 100. You're never really going to progress, or you're going to severely put your progress behind. Right? Because it's hard to do a PB. That's why it's called a PB. So
absolutely.
Personal best for those that don't know a PB. So it takes a lot of energy out of you. Right? If we, in powerlifting, right, that's what our goal is to get our PB. There's no way in hell we're going to do another training session after doing that, because you're putting everything you can into that one rep. So if you're doing that every single week, how much energy are you putting into this one rep that you're taking away from the rest of your sessions? Rather than just putting that energy into your training session and putting your ego in check right, until that end of that block, then you can go for your PB. Right? But otherwise you're limiting yourself.